As you probably know, I'm a florist and run a small family business. We primarily serve the local area, delivering orders to Vaughan, Markham, North York, and Richmond Hill, sometimes even to other parts of the Greater Toronto area, depending on the order value. We learned a lot during the COVID pandemic: how to manage our time more efficiently and how to bring more value to our customers. This fall, in 2025, we'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary. And we're proud to say we're still here, serving our loyal customers. In fact, we're now offering even more competitive prices and better service than ever before. I have to mention that spring 2025 has been quite different. Instead of the usual wedding events and bridal showers, we've been incredibly busy with a steady stream of sympathy orders. I'm not going to speculate too much about this shift. It might be related to our online only business model, or it could just be a strange coincidence. Who knows? Anyway, today I'm going to show you how to prepare a premium sized standing spray using 75 red roses. It's part of a large funeral order I just received. I've got about 80 stems of premium red roses here, which I ordered specifically for this event. I've hydrated the roses, baby's breath, and greenery for 12 hours. To begin, I fill a plastic cage basket with floral foam, Oasis. I place a brick of floral foam inside a durable cellophane bag and secure it in the hanging basket using basic electrical tape. The final arrangement will be approximately 42 by 26 inches. So the first step is to create a frame to guide the overall shape. I start by placing roses in the shape of a kite or rhombus, something close to a standing cross, with the top and bottom roses about 40 inches apart and the side roses about 24 inches apart. I leave extra room for greenery. This shape isn't set in stone, it's just a guide to help create the spray effect. The top can be fan-shaped, triangular, or even asymmetrical, as long as it has that graceful spreading spray form. The bottom doesn't have to be triangular either. It can cascade like a waterfall. It all depends on the florist's creativity and, most importantly, the customer's request. It may seem like creating an arrangement with just one type of flower is easy, but it's not. You still need to build structure, depth, texture, and most importantly, a focal point. I've noticed many floral designers are starting to overlook the importance of a focal point, and that's a big mistake. Without it, the arrangement can look messy and unbalanced. Just remember, if you don't like the way an arrangement looks, chances are other people won't either. It's just human nature. So, what is a focal point in floral design? The focal point is the area that immediately catches your eye. Think of a photo of a lake, mountain, or waterfall. Your eyes go to the most dramatic feature first, then you notice the surrounding details. It's the same with floral arrangements. The largest, brightest, or most striking blooms draw your attention before the smaller, softer ones. Whether the focal point is centered or off to one side doesn't matter. It will always be the visual anchor. That's just how our eyes work. Since I'm using only roses, I select the largest, most open blooms and group them tightly together in the focal area. Then, I space the surrounding roses more loosely to create a flowing, spray-like or cascading effect. I never begin with greenery when working with floral foam, and I've explained this in many of my floral videos. Some floral design books recommend starting with greenery, but I prefer to begin with the flowers. Floral foam has limited space, and unlike a transparent vase, I can't see where the stems are going. Inserting stems blindly can easily damage them, especially delicate ones like daisies or tulips. And when I'm working with 75 to 80 roses, it becomes very difficult to position them correctly at the end if the foam is already filled with greenery. Once all the roses are placed, I go back and tuck in greenery around the base, between the flowers, or wherever it's needed to add fullness and finish the look. To add depth to the arrangement, I use filler flowers, like baby's breath, placing them just below or level with the roses. Fillers like baby's breath, limonium, or wax flowers help break up the texture, especially in a monochromatic rose arrangement. If the customer doesn't want fillers, I use a mix of greenery instead to achieve a similar layered effect. In this particular case, the customer also requested a ribbon with a short message. I wrote it on the streamers of a handmade bow using a gold marker and attached the bow to the arrangement. Delivery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. I'll lightly spray the arrangement with water, wrap it in a thin cellophane cover, and place it in the fridge overnight. Before we deliver to the funeral home, I always double check the online obituary to make sure we have the correct information. We deliver flowers to the designated flower room and attach a sticker with the deceased's name to avoid any mix-ups. Sometimes we have to fill out a logbook. We always take pictures of the delivered flowers because when the funeral home is busy, they may misplace them, and unfortunately, the customer will often blame us by default. Sometimes the flower room is packed, and we have to carefully find a safe spot for the arrangement. I always remind clients, we do not set up the flowers in the visitation room. That's the responsibility of the funeral home staff. In very rare circumstances, if there are many arrangements and we're allowed into the visitation room, we may help set up, but only with permission. I really hope you like my video and learned something new. Let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see. Thank you for watching.